What do you know? We can trace the origins of the samurai sword we have over here back to the samurai family. That's ideal. Yes. Show it to me. Okay, which sword are you referring to? Don't sell the one your dad said. Quite risque, in fact. 40 years ago, you had Mary Jane in the bathtub. It appears that she's asking Spider-Man to join her for a little extracurricular. This is really awesome. Kamala was a World Wrestling Federation wrestler. Many of my friends are wrestling fans who grew up watching it with their children. Now that their children have grown out of wrestling, guess what? Isn't Dad still? On Pawn Stars, Chumlee used to be a well-known comic relief. However, few were aware of the grave secrets hidden beneath that smile. After authorities conducted a surprise raid and found enough evidence, firearms, and drugs to transform his entire life, everything changed. Chumlee was no longer the amusing idiot on TV. Instead, he started a sinister legal trip that resulted in the maximum sentence. He was given a life term in jail because of this, and that was when it all began. Tonight, Austin Russell, popularly known as Chumlee, one of the troubled Pawn Stars members, is going to jail. It was Las Vegas cops that busted down Chumlee's front door. It was an unexpected incident. Police found 19 firearms, including heavy weapons like MP5s and pointy-ride .23 rifles, as well as a significant quantity of drugs, including methamphetamine, marijuana, and Xanax. A few of the firearms were not registered. The search warrant was for a more serious inquiry, not for guns or drugs. Chumlee's residence was searched by police following a sexual assault report. Finding narcotics or firearms was not the original objective, but what was found in the residence complicated matters considerably. The documents and examine them. 1 weapons charge and 19 narcotics charges. Many of the folks we spoke with tonight said that while they might believe he is guilty of a drug offense, they would never believe he has committed sexual assault. Chumlee was immediately detained following the search and taken to the police station for further investigation. Within hours, local media started covering the story at a dizzying rate, spreading throughout the United States. Because the primary character was well known to millions of households from the reality TV show Pawn Stars, the media compared the incident to a bomb going off in the middle of Las Vegas. 20 accusations in all were swiftly formed into an indictment. 1 count of unlawful possession of a heavy weapon was among the 19 accusations of unlawful possession and use of prohibited substances. According to Nevada law, a conviction carries a maximum term of 70 years in jail. The amount and type of evidence was one of the factors that contributed to the case's seriousness. There were guns all over the house, some of which were of unknown origin and others that were not properly stored. Drug paraphernalia and pills in unlabeled bottles were discovered throughout the residence. This was a home that had every component of a serious criminal record, not the result of a single person handling things carelessly. When a member of the Pawn Stars production team was informed of the news, it was as though a lifetime had been erased in an instant. Chumlee was perceived by all as only a humorous figure on television. Nobody was aware that it was part of a larger structure. Chumlee promptly engaged a criminal defense attorney to engage in negotiations with the prosecutor. Chumlee consented to enter a guilty plea to felony firearms possession and misdemeanor drug possession following a series of closed-door talks. He received a 3-year probationary period in exchange for avoiding jail time. The requirements were to give up all firearms, take part in behavioral therapy, promise not to commit crimes again, and maintain a lifestyle that the monitoring system approved of. Chumlee would be promptly retried and subject to the full extent of his initial sentence, which could include decades in jail, if he broke any of the terms of his probation. According to a legal expert who followed the case, considering the quantity of weapons the police found in the house, a prison sentence is something that any average citizen would find difficult to avoid. Reaching such an agreement was the result of a very thorough negotiation process. Chumlee's entire image was completely upended at that time. Even though he avoided the possibility of long-term detention, he went from being a well-liked supporting character on the small screen to someone whose every move in his private life was closely watched. One member of the long-running production crew even stated, "In fact, it was the biggest shock the show had ever faced. In the event that we had to completely cease filming, we were ready for the worst." In order to properly comply with the rules, Chumlee temporarily stopped participating in media activities once the probationary sentence went into force. He made few public appearances and remained silent on social media. The following 3 years proved to be a trying time for him personally, as well as for all of his connections, both personal and professional. Nothing was forgiven because of that silence. The shaky basis of a suspended sentence and public pressure served as the basis for all subsequent decisions. The whole progression of the ongoing mental and physical struggle that caused him to frequently lose control is detailed here. The burden he was unable to bear. Following big life events, Chumlee's health started to deteriorate. Every year he gained weight quickly. At one point, his weight hit 160, which made it difficult for him to move and perform everyday tasks. His health deteriorated daily as a result of the silent pressure from personal issues and the constant filming travels. For many years, people used fast food and an uncontrolled diet as a stress-relieving habit. Chumlee practically lived in seclusion from the outside world throughout the tense time after the law. He made less and fewer appearances in public. He stayed at home most of the time, avoiding media attention and remaining mute before everything happened. Even still, Chumlee's realization that his physical state was causing a number of other issues marked the beginning of a significant shift. He began eating more vegetables, drinking juice instead of soft drinks, exercising vigorously 6 days a week, and reducing his intake of red meat. Although the results were short-lived, this technique helped him lose 34 kg in a short amount of time. His weight rapidly returned to its initial level due to a combination of irregular eating and mental strain. Chumlee made a more firm choice after numerous unsuccessful efforts. He had gastric bypass surgery in tooth hubs 21. This action was revolutionary. The outcomes were nearly instantaneous. In less than a year, over 73 kgs were removed. In a little personal video, he talked about the procedure and said it felt like he had come back to life. In addition to improving his health, losing the weight fundamentally altered his outlook on life. Chumlee had once had a hovercraft, but he had never utilized it due to physical limitations. He celebrated the new milestone by riding it for the first time after dropping weight. It was difficult for him to sustain the outcomes he had attained every day after that. He adhered rigorously to a workout regimen, followed the doctor's dietary advice, and avoided anything that would adversely influence his physical well-being. Many people didn't recognize him because of his altered appearance. Compared to the period when he was frequently involved in filming, certain photos posted on social media platforms revealed an unexpected shift. No more having to sit down after a few steps or experiencing dyspnea when speaking. Chumlee eventually regained the confidence he had long lost, as well as his basic mobility. He was also less reliant on supportive drugs as a result of the physical improvement. This weight loss phase was linked to a number of significant mental alterations in addition to the physical health issues. Following years of being called a fool or an image burden by the program, Chumlee started to alter people's perceptions of him with tangible outcomes. He actively chose to remain silent rather than argue, said less, and acted more. And Chumlee had to deal with another incident just as he was attempting to recover physically, from the very person who had been his pillar of support at the most trying time, not from the court or the general public. Broken promises in private. Chumlee met Olivia Raidman in 2016, which marked the start of his most committed relationship. She is a young professional who works in both photography and investments. Shortly after he fulfilled the first requirements of the contract, the relationship was swiftly made public. After going through a lot of personal upheavals, friends and family saw Olivia as a dependable support system and a fresh source of energy. Chumlee asked Olivia to marry him 2 years after they had started dating. Engagement ring with 5 carats of diamonds. Shortly after they were legally married, the couple hosted an engagement ceremony at the well-known resort of Wiki. The wedding was modest yet sufficient to demonstrate the couple's sincere devotion to one another. Chumlee rarely displayed a kind, content, and slightly amorous persona on social media at this period. The pair separated their personal lives from their television activities throughout the first few years. Despite their frequent travels and attendance at friends' private gatherings, Olivia did not participate in Chumlee shows or entertainment endeavors. The images of the couple together demonstrated a steady connection free from outside noise and many arguments. The frequency of the two occurring together gradually declined, despite the fact that alterations started to manifest in mid-2009. Previously, Chumlee's personal account lost a few well-known pictures. Olivia also stopped sharing any family-related information. In Las Vegas, acquaintances in the collector and business circles started chatting about the ongoing conflict between the two. Although the precise cause was not disclosed, there were numerous indications that the two could not sustain their partnership because of their divergent life objectives. Chumlee is currently attempting to reconstruct a ruined life, whilst Olivia has a distinct job orientation. The distance between them has increased as a result of having to uphold a media image while attempting to address personal matters. Chumlee and Olivia concluded their divorce proceedings in 2020. Although not extensively reported, this information was verified by a family member. There was no property or rights dispute in court. The two decided to part ways amicably and respectfully. Olivia has not participated in any Chumlee-related events since the divorce. Chumlee has said nothing at all since the divorce regarding the cause of the split. His ex has not been mentioned or shared on TV shows or social media sites. His entire attention is now on his personal projects and health efforts. He also spends more time with his original family at this time, particularly his brother, who assists him in operating a small business in Las Vegas. Chumlee became considerably quieter after losing one of the most significant individuals in his life. He abstained from all personal activity for several months, only re-entering public life after his image and direction underwent noticeable shifts. This shift occurred at the same time that the TV series he was involved in started to undergo restructuring. From this point on, his relationship with his long-term collaborators started to come up again, not because of television, but rather because of his ability to stay afloat in a faltering empire. In a dying empire, standing alone. Chumlee was a key component of the winning formula that made Pawn Stars the most popular reality show in the United States at one point. He established himself as a supporter in handling unusual products and checking goods from the very first seasons. Despite not having a Harrison ancestry, he frequently appears in the store and on the show because of his early relationship with Corey. The relationships between the characters are just as important to the show's success as the uncommon goods. Although Chumlee is frequently made fun of for his ignorance or delayed responses, this helps viewers identify with him. Among the typically combative and technical characters, he stands out by his perfectly acceptable frivolity, easygoing demeanor, and endearing nature. Chumlee was one of three faces that frequently appeared alongside Rick and Corey during the height of the show. The crowd recalled him for his hilarious outbursts and extremely amusing conduct, even though he had little influence over the trading decisions. His influence was so great that Chumlee's image appeared on t-shirts, figurines, and souvenirs. He was not removed from the show, as many had anticipated following the turmoil in his personal life. Chumlee, on the other hand, continued to play his part and make frequent appearances on the broadcasts. Internally, there was little debate around his comeback because the show's key cast members continued to believe in and support him. Taking part in the expanded edition, Pawn Stars Do America was a significant step at this time. In this iteration, the show's characters were permitted to travel outside of Las Vegas in order to look for unique objects. Chumlee frequently accompanied Rick and Corey on their travels, demonstrating unequivocally that he continued to hold his place in the core group. Chumlee and Rick didn't stop there. They started their own podcast, Pawn Stars After Dark, in the beginning of 2025. Here, they discuss behind-the-scenes tales, unique circumstances, and their own thoughts on unique products or clients. He was able to reach a new audience that no longer watched traditional television thanks to the podcast, which gained a sizable following very rapidly. The main show started to experience a sharp drop in viewers. Despite those activities, the average number of viewers per episode decreased from millions to roughly a million. In order to keep the audience interested, the production team was compelled to alter their approach to content creation and add more fresh components. Despite this, Chumlee continued to make frequent appearances, demonstrating that the program's adjustments had no impact on him. Along with watching television, he started experimenting with new pastimes like the Celebrity Poker Tour, an entertainment event that gets well-known people together to play poker games for charitable causes. His decision to enter the poker world is seen as a move in keeping with his present demeanor, which includes being more reserved, less communicative, and opting to participate in more intimate shows. This also amply illustrates the change in his self-branding following a string of incidents. And it was there that he started to show more significant changes from a television supporting character to someone who used his passions to forge his own career. His life was rebuilt by his obsession. Chumlee started to concentrate more on the universe he controlled after winning his place on the TV show. These were tiny initiatives, collections, and personal enterprises that he created alone, independent of any other system. Chumlee opened Chumlee's Candy on the Boulevard, a confectionery close to the well-known pawn shop, in 2017. This nostalgic company model sells dried meats, vintage candies, little mementos, and items related to the Pawn Stars television show. Chumlee's brother owns and operates the store. Even though he serves as the brand's spokesperson and visionary, the store has stayed stable and drawn a lot of customers, particularly those who watch the show. Chumlee spends most of his time collecting in addition to his business. With more than 200 pairs of limited edition sneakers, he is regarded as one of Las Vegas's largest shoe collectors. He has also made significant investments in acquiring original toys, vintage pinball machines, rare Pokemon cards, and pop culture artifacts from the previous 10 years. He published Chumlee's Adventure, The Quest for Pinky, a vintage NES-style video game, in 2020. It tells the story of his search for his cherished dog, Pinky, who got misplaced at a pawn shop. The game's unique design and color scheme, which harken back to the heyday of 8-bit gaming, helped it garner recognition despite its straightforward development. He is active on the Cameo platform, where he offers fans customized videos on demand in addition to digital goods. Without using television or other conventional content creators, this approach enables him to stay active in the digital world and establish a closer connection with the community. Chumlee was a visitor at Comic-Con in 2024 where he met people who shared his hobbies and talked candidly about his collections. In addition to being commercial, this behavior validates his new position as a character in the collecting culture world. Independent of the TV show, when he and Rick started the Pawn Stars After Dark podcast together in early 2025, it was the most noticeable shift. This podcast, in contrast to the main series, concentrates on personal experiences, behind-the-scenes tales, and the characters' reactions to circumstances that aren't discussed in the broadcast episodes. Chumlee can communicate his own viewpoint, his true voice, and a more mature approach to problems that have previously disturbed him through the podcast. He is also asked to take part in extracurricular activities like the Celebrity Poker Tour, which is a series of poker tournaments for famous people. Being in this setting demonstrates how Chumlee's reputation has evolved from that of an entertainer to that of someone who can engage in strategic competitive playgrounds while still drawing crowds. From the end of 2024 to the beginning of October 2025, he remained private. He spent the most of his time managing digital material, creating podcasts, and taking part in local events. He showed no signs of reverting to his previous persona. Conversely, every activity was well planned and under strict supervision. Chumlee's life is about more than just TV appearances. It's also about overcoming unforgivable mistakes. He has demonstrated that mistakes may not spell disaster by overcoming a suspended sentence, losing his spouse, and progressively reconstructing every aspect of his life with zeal and tenacity. Whether the individual in question has the courage to move on, remember to like and support the video if you think this quest is worthwhile. To ensure you don't miss out on the true stories behind superstars, share it with people who have watched Pawn Stars and subscribe to the channel. How do you feel about Chumlee's experiences? Comment in the space provided below. Every line you share is always read by me.